Ladies and gentlemen, we've got big news coming through. It's a sensational twist to this entire Tirumala Prasadam controversy. Well, now CNN News 18 has accessed documents that point towards irregularities in awarding the tender to AR Dairy Private Limited, and as per the tender document, clause 74. Now, I'm going to check because it's a huge document. It's about 28 pages, and also the response. I have just opened up clause number 74 and highlighted it, and let's see if it can be captured on my screen here, on the screen here. Now, it says annual turnover of the firm should be more than 250 crore. The supplier should produce an evidence of turnover issued by chartered accountants, and audited financial statement consists of balance sheet and profit and loss account, which schedules for 1 year in the last 5 financial years. And they say that the right to blacklist a firm for 5 years in case if the participant bidder are found to have involved in misleading TTD by furnishing false declarations, certifications, corrupt activities during the process of tendering, and is binding on the tenderer. Such a decision will be taken by the EO, Executive Officer, and TTD, Additional Executive Officer. Now, this is the clauses 74 and 75. Now, this is interesting in the matter of AR Dairy. AR Dairy, 22-23, their turnover net sales is what is shown as 244 crore. In 21-22, it is shown as 192 crore. So, these two financial years that has been pulled out of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and this is the data. This is held in the year 2024-2023. So this is the data that's been pulled out, and report of the board of directors to the shareholders. And what it says is in 22-23 it is 244 crore. Now look at the amount that's mentioned in the tender. It's 250 crore. So 244 crore, 250 crore, you are below the mark. Even if you are 1 naya paisa or 1 rupee less than the actual amount of your net revenue, you should not be allowed to bid in and be part of the tendering process. Here you are nearly 6 crores less. You are 6 crores below, despite knowing fully well that the revenue has to be 250 crores. How is it that you were allowed? Now that's a question that many people are asking. What aji-baji is going on here? What was the need to have AR Dairy, despite it not having the requisite amount of revenue, that it was allowed? Now it says that it schedules for 1 year in the last 5 years. So profit and loss account which schedules for 1 year in the last 5 financial years. The previous financial year, the turnover is not more than 250 crores. So you could say, all right, maybe 1 year it was loss making, they were more than 250 crore, the next year it was less, but it was 192 crore here. So it's 192 crore here and 244 crore here. So you are in the 2 years, 21-22 and 22-23, way below the expected mark that allows you to qualify, that is 250 crore. So how did they get this AR Dairy, which is under question and which is under scrutiny, is a big question, and it's a mega exclusive here at CNN News 18. These documents, and this has been procured out of the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and they did not meet the revenue threshold. That's the story, ladies and gentlemen. Hindol Sen Gupta, Bikram Banerjee are with us. We've got more news coming through from Bangladesh. We'll go to that in a bit, but this entire Tirupati aspect, Hindol Sen Gupta, how is this aji-baji being allowed?
Because of political intervention, Anand. I mean, there is no secret to this. There are two fundamental things that are wrong about this. There is absolutely no monitoring of such situations from the Samaj, from Hindu Samaj. That's a vital missing link. And very sadly, some among Hindus, obviously, even if they're Hindus within the board of TDD, are willing to sell their soul and sell their dharma for money. This has been going on for a long time. Anand, you will remember in the last 5 years, video after video has emerged about corruption in Tirupati. You know, evangelicals on the sacred hill, all kinds of things going on. People who are not Hindu, disguising their identity, being pushed into the board. We have heard all of this for the last several years. This is the final straw. And there also I want to highlight, even then, I'm very disheartened to say this, there is nowhere of the sort of outrage that should happen among Hindu societies happening at the moment. This in any other faith would have led to an upheaval. Yeah. At the moment, we are seeing nothing of that sort. This is the problem. The destruction of culture among Hindus is so vital and so poisonous and so rotten that even when Tirupati, the holiest of holy shrine, the prasadam there is being tampered with, there isn't this kind of outrage. My only hope, the only silver lining, it is really people like you, Anand, and many others who are at least doing the seminal effort of bringing this out in the limelight, so that more and more people, not just in India but Hindus around the world, wake up to this terrible poison that has entered our community.
But we have only allowed temple practices and dharma to be corrupted, Bikram Banerjee. That's another aspect that many are looking at it, they're disgusted, but then they just shrug their shoulders and move on. Here, look at this. AR Dairy flouting the tender norms. First up, who are the person who decided that we will not source it from an authentic milk producer or a dairy development board or a cooperative like Nandini, cancels that and then says let's get local suppliers, puts in a cap of 1500 kilometers and then says puts a cap of 250 crore revenue minimum and then gives it off to a person who's out of 8 containers, 4 were passed, they tested and the laddus were tasting awful, so the other 4 were rejected. That's the level. And then there is no furor. Even the party that outed this, Chandrababu Naidu, took his own sweet time. They had the report from the 24th of July. They waited till the 20th of September to talk about it.
I totally, it outrage me and many people who are outside and looking into this issue. There is a huge amount of the South Indian communities there from Andhra, and they are there. And as Hindal said, there is a lot more needs to be done, not only in India, outside as well. This is clear corruption, and this is clear agenda of Hindu being soft and interfere in their faith and practices. And I put probably investigation would identify there would be people with the malafide intentions, not only the financial motive, the other malafide intentions purposefully. I'm indicating it could be some Islamist minded. It could be some the conversion business minded people, those who convert into Christianity, and or the communists. They are trying to do that, and they will try to justify this. Oh, this is just a fact. Oh, why you are making big hoo-ha, etc., and make it unacceptable as if it is acceptable. And I think it is a and the way I see the beef and other aspects, this is civilization way of our thinking, and they are trying to target that.
But the health minister of the country itself, Hindol, has said it's a food safety issue.
I don't know what to say, Anand. I really don't know what to say. It just seems that finally then the only thing that the Hindu community, 1 billion people around the world are worth, are really politicking and getting their votes. We are not worth anything more. I mean, this is the only worth that we are left for. I mean, if these are the kind of statements that are made, then I mean, as they say in Hindu, chullu bhar pani mein doob ke mar jana chahiye. What else can one say? I mean, this is not even the final straw. I don't know if this kind of thing can be said even after Tirupati is being desecrated. Then tomorrow what will happen? Our little temples in our each of our homes will come and be broken.
Here is the problem, gentlemen. Here is the problem, gentlemen. There is a huge amount of outrage of how Bangladesh and Hindus are being treated in Bangladesh. My simple submission as we move on to the next story is that if we are not even standing up for our dharmic values, our traditions and a certain level of sanctity in our temples within our own country, how are we going to stand up to champion the rights of Hindus who are minorities in the neighboring countries, be it in Pakistan or in Bangladesh? Now look at what's happening in Bangladesh. This is Pujo time. This is Pujo time, and look at what is happening in Bangladesh. Let's move on to this, ladies and gentlemen. So we've got you that story. Now look at this story from Bangladesh. It was not long ago that Bangladesh's interim government head, Mohammad Yunus, called the claims of atrocities against Hindus in Bangladesh as a mere exaggeration. His attempt to downplay a serious issue seems to have only emboldened radicals further in Bangladesh, an administration that is going out of its way to deny minorities, largely Hindus, in Bangladesh their rights, are staring at a possible exodus of these very soon, and they are continuously facing targeted attacks day in and day out. From threats against Durga Puja to Hindu freedom fighters being attacked to forced retirement at being attacked, and also then the other aspect is being forced into retirement. Bureaucrats and people in official Hindus who are there, high-ranking officers, and the suppression of minorities, it continues brazenly. Have a look at this and sample this. This is the first one, ladies and gentlemen, latest. Hindus in Bangladesh, and this is especially a Khulna report. In Khulna, the district of Khulna, anonymous letters have gone to various sangatans there, threatening them not to celebrate, not to allow them to celebrate Durga Puja unless they pay 5 lakh taka. Taka is the official currency of Bangladesh. So 5 lakh taka. The letters delivered to the leaders of various puja celebration committees also said failure to comply would result in severe consequences. And according to reports, some committees have cancelled the event fearing daily threats, while others have gone to the cops. The letter even threatened the committee, saying if you report it to the media or administration, you will be cut to pieces. And what is put out there is not just the letter, it's a report in the local daily there that's come out. That's what we are carrying here. And it doesn't end there, it doesn't stop there. A Hindu freedom fighter, Mahendra Nath Pramanik, aged 74 years old. He was in the 1971 liberation of Bangladesh, the liberation war. He was attacked with a sharp weapon at his house in Gaibanda's Govindaganj, Upazila, Bangladesh. So, and he's dead. He's been brutally hacked. He's been hacked. The pictures are so disturbing, we are only showing some portions of it. Bangladesh Civil Services topper of the 1997 batch, Bangladesh Police Additional IGP Devdas Bhattacharya, forced to retire early. And the government dismissed him allegedly because he belonged to the minority, or he was a Hindu. The next story, the third story of Devdas Bhattacharya, who was forced to retire. And then, of course, during the BNP Jamaat rule, he was denied promotion thrice, reportedly for being a Hindu. And not so long ago, Bangladesh asked Hindus to pause Durga Puja. Some Bangladeshis asked Hindus to pause Durga Puja celebrations during Namaz and Azan. And now recently, Bangladesh has released Jasimuddin Rahmani, a radical Islamist preacher notorious for his hate-filled sermons advocating jihad. Upon his release, he continues to issue threats to Bharat. And he's gone on and even said, we cannot allow puja here because we cannot walk on the ground where puja is committed because we stand on the streets and offer namaz. So how can you have puja processions from this land because it will be defiled? These are kind of comments that are being made. Despite strong appeals from Bharat, there has been no relief for Hindus in Bangladesh. Top intelligence sources have told CNN News 18 that Bharat is closely watching these developments, are in touch with senior functionaries in Bangladesh government. Intel sources reveal demands made to Durga Puja committees are nothing but like jizya, and they are unwarranted. Intel sources say Yunus government is responsible for the spread of this hatred against Hindus immediately after Sheikh Hasina's departure. So now jizya collection is happening, Bikram Banerjee. Hindol is also there with us. Yes, Hindol.
Well, I mean, this definitely doesn't come as a surprise, Anand. Please remember, I want to remind all your viewers that at least some of us have been saying that this is exactly the route Bangladesh will take, where everybody, including Western commentators and many Indian commentators, were rejoicing at the quote-unquote student-led monsoon revolution in Bangladesh. Many of us pointed out that the Yunus government has really no strength on the streets. This will always mean that the real streets and the government will be run by the Islamists. Everything that we said step by step is happening. The Jamaat, the ban was removed. Hizbut Tahrir, which is behind the Holy Bakery attack, you remember in 2016, they are back marching in Bangladesh, and they are now say that they should be allowed to flourish, and their activities also should be completely unrestricted in Bangladesh. You mentioned Rahmani, this is a group, remember Anand, takes its ideological inspiration from Al-Qaeda. They are back in full force in Bangladesh. And you're right in saying this is jizya, this is nothing more than that. They don't want even Durga Pujas. Durga Puja is traditionally done by building a pandal, it's by building a Shamiana pandal, and then of course the deities are placed in them. If you say that no open ground in Bangladesh is a place where Durga Puja can be done because namaz has been done there, then there is no place apart from a few temples where Durga Puja can be done. All of this we knew this is the path Bangladesh will take. We were saying this again and again, but at that time there was such euphoria among everybody that people were dismissing that the Islamists had nothing to do with this, which is absolutely untrue. And this will get worse. I warn you, Anand, and all your viewers, there is a strong demand in Bangladesh now that the national anthem and the flag has to be changed. And you mark my words, if this does not stop with India, putting pressure, and especially America putting pressure, finally the flag and the anthem of Bangladesh will change very soon.
Now, where are the torchbearers of religious freedom? Hindul, those who are so worried about religious freedom in Bharat, where are they? Can you find them, please?
No, absolutely. You will not hear
Who
from
are
them.
hailing, championing Muhammad Yunus?
Yeah, you will not hear from them at all because, Muhammad Yunus has been put, a Nobel laureate, who looks nice, speaks good English, is friends with Hillary Clinton, all the right tick boxes. So you will not hear from them at all. But Muhammad Yunus is a figurehead. He can try and help the economy. The rest of Bangladesh, all the things that really matter is in the hands of the Islamists, and as days go by will further be in the hands of Islamists. This is the real truth. Remember, Anand, one of the first things that the Yunus government did was place one of its biggest arms orders ever to Pakistan. We have seen BNP people openly coming out and said, professors aligned to the BNP, that Bangladesh should have a nuclear arrangement, quote unquote, with Pakistan. What does this mean? Think about where it pushes India. Tomorrow, if Bangladesh gets access to the Pakistan nuclear umbrella, what happens to Indian security? These are big question marks, and not one of those people who were dancing about student revolution are even opening their mouth about these things today.
Those revolutionaries are long gone into hiding. They are nowhere there to be seen at this point. Hindul Sen Gupta, thank you very, very much. Do stay on with us. We'll take the story forward here on the right stand and bring it closer home to yet another state which is under conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a move on. And we move on to Karnataka, where it's a big blow to CM Siddaramaiah. The Karnataka High Court has dismissed his petition challenging governor's decision to sanction his prosecution in the alleged Muda land case. The High Court said the governor did apply his mind in abundance and there was no fault in the governor's actions. The BJP quick to demand Chief Minister Siddaramaiah's resignation on moral grounds. The Chief Minister accused the BJP and JDS of resorting to political retaliation. Siddaramaiah asserted that he won't step down. Karnataka Chief Minister is actually facing a probe over alleged irregularities in the allotting 14 sites to his wife in prime location of Mysuru city by the Mysore Urban Development Authority. Now let's take the look at the Karnataka High Court's order in detail and what all points they were said. They said hardly justified that son of a chief minister will be a silent spectator. So this is one of the points that have been said there. And this is, I'll tell you the pages also one by one what has been mentioned. Then they've also said need to probe if the rules were bent to favor CM's family. And if not in power, then magnitude of benefit would not have flown. So that's another point that's been made, that's been said. So that is said in on page number 179. Page number 180, prima facie depicts abuse of power of the seat of the chief minister. Page number 180 is what this says. Page number 185 says, facts narrate that petitioner obtained undue advantage. Page 186, petitioner behind the smoke screen for benefit flown to wife. And I'm quoting from the judgment, the order copy, ladies and gentlemen. And page number 191 says, the CM should not shy away from any investigation. So this is what former Union Minister Rajiv Chandrasekharji, while he spoke with us earlier in the day, had to say, a short excerpt of that conversation. And also Siddaramaiah, in his defense, what he had to say, a short excerpt.
It was untenable the day he decided to, get into this Muda land scam. I think the only difference today is that it's out in the open, and his attempts to try and cover it up and sort of sweep it under the carpet by going to the courts and trying to get a stay on it has been nixed by the Karnataka High Court. If he has a sense of self-respect or any amount of a small token of moral compass left in him, he would resign and make the way for a free and fair investigation into this Muda land scam.
ಯಾಕೆ ರಾಜೀನಾಮೆ ಕೊಡಿ ಕುಮಾರಸ್ವಾಮಿ ರಾಜೀನಾಮೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರಾ ಬೇಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಬೇಲ್ನಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರಪ್ಪ ಅವ್ರು ಕೇಳ್ರಿ ಈಗ FIR ಇರೋರಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಕೇಳಪ್ಪ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಎಂಕ್ವೈರಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿರೋ ಅಲ್ವಾ.
Let's go across to our guest this evening. Hindol Sen Gupta, author, stays on with us. Narendra Rangappa, spokesperson of the Karnataka BJP with us. And Nikul Patel, leader of the Congress party with us. Namaste and Jai and gentlemen. Hindol will be joining us in a bit. Mr. Rangappa, you are calling for the Chief Minister's resignation right away. Siddaramaiah is saying, why should I resign? Let the inquiry continue if it has to continue.
See, Mr. Siddaramaiah is trying to be adamant. The High Court has vindicated the BJP stand that there are irregularities in the action code and conduct of Mr. Siddaramaiah and his family. It has been very clearly proven in the court and in the judgment copies. The fallacies conducted by Siddaramaiah to gain advantage for his family members. It is very clear. And if he is trying to play a victim card and if he is adamant, nobody is going to forgive him. He has to resign if he has any morality at all. And if Congress party is going to talk about corruption, trying to talk about the constitution, what constitution are they protecting now? The High Court has very clearly said this is a fit case for investigation. Is Mr. Siddaramaiah going to investigate his wife? Is the police in Bangalore going to investigate the Chief Minister? What sort of a democratic arrangement is this? You say adamantly, I will not resign. Why not? You have no morality then. In value-based politics, in our country, excellent exceptions are there. Mr. Ramakrishna Hegde, who happens to be Mr. Siddaramaiah's mentor, in August 88 resigned just because there was an allegation. Here there is an evidence, proof, and the High Court has upheld it. This is what we have to say.
Nikul Patel?
See, my BJP friend and BJP party is immediately asking for the resignation, and they are happy that High Court had given some verdict. I think still the trial is not being conducted. It's a plea where the Chief Minister had asked that whatever governor had taken an action on an application against him, that is the charges of.
Sir, are you going to investigate yourself?
Let's not speak over each other. Let him make his point. Mr. Rangappa, he didn't interrupt you. Let him make his point and then you please counter. Yes, Nikul.
So definitely the Chief Minister has a due right to approach the court where always as per constitution that the governor acts on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. But over here, governor had taken his own stand and had allowed the investigation to happen. Now, once the court had decided that let the investigation happen, we are ready for it. Congress had always been ready for any departmental or constitutional investigation, whether it is any agency which is asking any of our leader to go and present among themselves. You can find Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, everyone going to the respective agencies and giving their submissions. Now it's a part of this particular process. Bharatiya Janata Party always wants to say that the Congress is corrupt. Congress is corrupt, but over here it's now our responsibility to make the people of Karnataka realize the fact that what is happening is not what they are thinking. It's all under the purview of law, and we are ready for any investigation. That what Siddaramaiah rightly said.
No, but if who's going to investigate Mr. Siddaramaiah?
I can't hear you.
Yeah, we will try and connect the audio through Mr. Rangappa in just a bit. But Nikul Patel, who is going to investigate Mr. Siddaramaiah? He's the Chief Minister of the state. So it's a fair question to ask. If he's got to be investigated, his family has to be investigated, then he has to step aside. He has to recuse himself.
See, executive body or Siddaramaiah is the legislative wing now. Executive is an independent body which always investigate as what ED, CBI used to work it. So definitely.
No, but here it is the anti-corruption department or the vigilance department of Karnataka state itself that has to get involved. Are you saying transfer this matter to the CBI? But the CBI officers will also be pulled out of the Karnataka cadre and they will have to work from there. Point is till Mr. Siddaramaiah is part of us sitting on an influential position like the Chief Minister's chair, how will the investigation be neutral?
Yeah, I will answer that. See, if the applicant who had filed the allegation and the complaint against the Chief Minister found that the investigation is not happening in the right way, he can approach the court again and ask the entire case to transfer to CBI.
Kamal,
We are fair and
please let
fine enough to
me
make
ask
the
you. Let me ask you this:
in the fair way.
had this been Mr. Yediyurappa as Chief Minister, and had he said the same thing, what would you have said?
See, at present, if you see whatever is
Hasi chut gayi
happening,
na?
you are very correct. I agree to your point.
You would not have held the same standard for Mr. Yediyurappa. उनको कहाँ से कहाँ दौड़ाया? He had to run. Remember those pictures when he had to run from here, run helter-skelter when allegations of corruption were made against him. At that time, everybody said, "What kind of a leader is he?" Now today, Mr. Siddaramaiah is doing the same thing. ना कुर्सी छोड़ूंगा और ना किसी और को बैठने दूंगा. That's what's happening.
Yeah, I agree to your justification. The same thing Bharatiya Janata Party needs to understand and realize. They are asking for the resignation. Without any conviction, how a CM will resign from the post? That is my, again, the submission.
No conviction. If there is a charge, if this charge of malpractice, using the office for profit and making unrequited, benefits, is right to his own home. It's not even that the Chief Minister has allowed a third person. That's what the court order also says. Did you not read the court order, sir?
Prima facie, you yourself said that it's a prima facie. The prima facie can be anyone, and anyone can put allegation on anyone putting the complaint. Now that is what the entire scene is. Now, if you want the fair and investigation, we are ready for everything. What that Siddaramaiah is telling. And if the applicant or the person who is filing the complaint is not convinced with the way...
Page number 180. Merely because the wife of the petitioner has indulged in all these acts, legal or illegal, the petitioner cannot be said to be completely ignorant of what is happening in the life of his wife qua these factors. It prima facie depicts stretching of the arms of undue influence and portrays abuse of power of the seat of Chief Minister or any other post held by the petitioner.
So that
judgment
is for what? I would like to convey the judgment is for what? The governor had initiated the investigation against the Chief Minister and the prima facie is there. So the governor had thought that the investigation should happen, and that is what the judgment is. It is not
all facts narrated herein above would touch on the ingredients of these allegations as prima facie the family of the petitioner obtained undue advantage. Page 185. Page 186. The petitioner is undoubtedly behind the smoke screen. अभी सुनिए, petitioner, मैं नहीं बोल रहा हूँ ये. This is the court order. I am reading from the court order. That's why I am spelling out the page number also. The petitioner is undoubtedly behind the smoke screen for every benefit that has flown to the wife of the petitioner. If the benefit had flown to a stranger outside the family, the petitioner could not have been alleged of any offence. The benefit in fact has flown to the family, and the benefit is to the family prima facie due to the power of the petitioner. Sir, ये राजनीति में कहा जाता है एक भी छींटा दाग का लग गया तो आपको कुर्सी छोड़नी चाहिए. Here you are telling me that दाग अच्छे हैं.
Again the judgment is for what the governor initiated, the action is for that. It's not all the trial had happened and the conviction is done. So I don't think there is any point of resignation by Siddaramaiah from the state of Karnataka government, right? Because it's only the BJP who wants that. They want to make a hue of it and wants that they must resign. I think if such a scene is there, then every BJP, whoever is finding the charges, must start resigning.
My point is the Congress has unbridled power and authority. Don't you trust Mr. Priyank Kharge or Mr. DK Shivkumar, whoever will become the Chief Minister in place of Mr. Siddaramaiah?
We have
to help Mr. Siddaramaiah out. At least on moral high ground, he can claim the moral high ground. He can say, all right, let me come clean. I'll go away. Why is he saying I won't go away? What is the reason?
We have trust on every our MLA as well as the person in the Congress. We are here as a elected government doing the larger interest of the people of Karnataka. At present, some allegations are there. We are going to find all legal options for it. It's not
you find legal options, but till then, if he is in a position of power, sir, for 14 years this has happened. Or is it Mr. Rangappa, as Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar said, that Mr. Siddaramaiah is thinking here my wife is allegedly involved. The ED is already investigating DK Shivkumar. There are allegations against Mr. Mallikarjun Kharge and of land and other appropriation or using the office for profit. So why should I vacate my space? What is happening, Mr. Rangappa?
See, Mr. Siddaramaiah, as I told you before, is an adamant man. He has got no respect for moral democratic values. He claims to be a democratic and value-based politician. It is a counter argument that he is giving, but he doesn't want to uphold the law of the land. He doesn't want to listen to the High Court. He doesn't want him to be investigated. He doesn't want his family to be investigated. Is he going to investigate his wife? Is he going to investigate himself? Or is the police going to investigate the Chief Minister of Karnataka? He is doing a drama and he is going to be duly answered by the public of Karnataka. We will never forgive him for his dramatics.
No, what are you saying? The Congress is the one party which led the India alliance with the Samvidhan in its hand and on its forehead, sir. And Mr. Siddaramaiah has said he is upholder of the constitution. How can you blame him, Mr. Rangappa?
What sort of a constitution is he upholding then? What sort of a constitution? The constitution is very clear. There is no role for corruption. There is no role for playing victim card. He has to go by the moral rights and moral rules that have been ruling democracy. So I would like to ask Mr. Kharge and Mr. Rahul Gandhi, is this the real democracy that you are following? Is this the real democracy?
Mr. R.K. Upadhyaya is with us. How would you see this position? Mr. Siddaramaiah is saying, I will not quit. The court says that your family member seems to be a direct beneficiary.
Well, if you read the judgment in full, it appears that, Siddaramaiah could have got away if only he had surrendered these sites, telling the court that, I didn't know what happened between my wife and her brother. And, the facts are so glaring and so blatantly done. I don't know how he could have got away with this. How he felt that he could get away with this. Because there seems to be at least fraud at every stage, from the time of acquisition of this land, from the time of the alternate sites being given. At every stage there seems to be something that needs to be investigated, and there was no option for the judge but to order an investigation. And I think being a seasoned politician, knowing being in the field for so many years, he should have realized this is something, a minefield. He's walking into a minefield. And he should have, got away by saying that, look, I didn't know what happened in this case and I would like to surrender these sites. That would have been the end of the matter.
He believes he didn't know what happened in the case, but the appropriation is as per the rules. If the Mysore Urban Development Society takes land from some people, it allocates land somewhere else, irrespective of the fact that in this case, the land and the plots that were allotted were like 14 times more the value.
Sir, much more than that. In fact, the valuation of the land at that time was 3,56,000, and what was given was 55.80 crores.
Wow.
That is the magnanimity of the the scandal. If I can call that.
Nikul Patel, how come you, me don't get such land holdings and we don't get such benefits? R.K. Upadhyaya ji, why didn't you get such benefits? Why only Mrs. Siddaramaiah?
Well, I think that's a question every Karnataka person is asking. How come it only happens to, a big politician's wife? And his claim that, I was never a chief minister when this thing was done, and I have not been in position, and this was given during the BJP's term, all that, holds no good. After all, he's been a man of position since 1998. He's been DCM, he's been, in one position or another. In 2022, when the allotment was actually made, he was still the leader of the opposition.
Is he worried that if he recuses himself?
Position of power.
Is he worried, let me ask you this, is he worried if he recuses himself from his position, those who are supposed to help him out may end up making him a political pariah, Mr. Upadhyaya? Does he not trust Mr. Kharge and Mr. Shivkumar?
I don't know exactly what has gone behind this strategy of going ahead and challenging it. I really feel sorry that he was not been given proper advice in this case. So now the fact that he's trying to take it up before the division bench and then probably before the Supreme Court is not going to help him in any way, because right now he's in a pickle. So every day spent as somebody who has been found doing something irregular by the High Court of Karnataka. It is no longer just an allegation by the BJP. It's no longer what the governor has done. So all this while he could get away saying that the governor was a puppet of the central government and that's why he did this. Now there is a 197-page judgment of the Karnataka High Court. So he can never take shelter under it now.
Nikul Patel and then Mr. Rangappa. Yes, Nikul Patel.
See, again, I would like to say we are ready for all the investigation, as rightly said. And in 2013-14 also, we have so many cases where it was said that this is the scam, it's whether it's a coal scam or 2G scam, but nothing has been proved. And everyone is no one conviction. Now over here, whatever allegations are being made on the present chief minister, we feel that we will come out of it, and we are into legal guidance and everything. I think people of Karnataka has trusted Congress, and we are in the larger interest working in the people of Karnataka. And
people of Karnataka trust the Congress, but Mr. Siddaramaiah himself trusts the Congress in Karnataka.
Yeah, definitely. See, he is the elected chief minister of Karnataka. Yeah, you cannot deny him. He is working for the people of Karnataka.
Congress was elected and he was selected as chief minister. So the Congress has the mandate in Karnataka, not Mr. Siddaramaiah. But does Mr. Siddaramaiah trust his own Congress party? Because if he did, he would have taken the moral high ground and we would have played the victim rather than the villain here. That's what Mr. Rupa said.
Can I put one analogy over here with the same justification what you are giving? See, Narendra Modi is being elected Prime Minister of the country, and he is having the mandate. So similarly over here, Karnataka people have elected Congress, and definitely Congress had given
the difference
Siddaramaiah the mandate to put the people of Karnataka, whatever promises are given by Karnataka.
I knew you were going to give that analogy, but what happened is, sir, what happened, sir, in the national elections, in the Lok Sabha elections, Narendra Modi was on the ticket and it was on his work and under his leadership that the BJP sought the mandate. But in the Karnataka elections, both D.K. Shivkumar and Siddaramaiah were claimants to this, and eventually the selection happened within the Congress High Command. So you know the analogy is a misfire there. It doesn't fit there. Yes, Mr. Rangappa. The people of Karnataka gave the mandate to the Congress and there's no doubt about it. Yes, Mr. Rangappa, finally.
Having a mandate doesn't give you immunity from doing crime, wrongdoings and corruption. It is very clear. Having immunity doesn't give you, having a mandate doesn't give you immunity. You have to follow the dharma of democracy. If your party is taking the high moral ground of constitution, Mr. Siddaramaiah is the classical example that he doesn't recognize or respect the constitution. And let me bring to your notice page 97, para 26 of the judgment, sir. Please go through it, and the judge has been very clearly stating that he has used his office to mislead the government, and he has favored his wife, and the son of the petitioner was a participant in this event. Very clearly said. And they make a rule just for the sake of this allotment. Immediately after this allotment is made, that rule is scrapped. What is the meaning of this?
So clearly, office for profit, some aji baji, the prima facie, it all points to that the office was used for an unfair advantage to the family. That's what it says. The judgment also says. Let's see what Mr. Siddaramaiah does. Does he continue to brazen it out, and does that increasingly make his position untenable? I have run out of time. I have to move on to the next story here on The Right Stand. I thank all our guests. Thank you very, very much. Quickly shifting focus, ladies and gentlemen, and moving on from national politics and developments to what's happening in West Asia, in the Middle East, ladies and gentlemen. The situation continues to escalate. Israel's latest strikes on Hezbollah targets killed over 500 people in Lebanon, including 50 children, 94 women, marking the deadliest day in cross-border warfare since 2006. Now, the Israel military, or the IDF, has warned the southern and eastern Lebanon citizens to evacuate ahead of its widening air campaign on Hezbollah strongholds across the country. In fact, Benjamin Netanyahu himself issued a video statement where he urged Lebanese citizens, saying, "My fight is not with you, Israel's fight is not with you, it's with the Hezbollah. don't be their human shields, vacate this area, because you can all come back to your places once we finish these strikes and targeting Hezbollah. Now, this has also triggered fears of an all-out war in the region since Gaza conflict erupted on the 7th of October. The question we ask, is this entire situation on the precipice of escalation, this conflict or this attack against terror outfits, this crackdown? And is there a possibility that there could be ramifications closer home? Let's go across to our guests first, get their thoughts. We may have some more inputs, but we'll go to that in a bit. Professor Brahmachalani is with us. And Elad Simcheov, Israeli journalist, should also join us. Professor Brahmachalani, your thoughts?
Israel is following a strategy of escalation to achieve de-escalation. In other words, de-escalation through the route of escalation. The problem with that strategy is that it carries risks of a wider conflict, a conflict that could drag in Iran. The two things that stand out, that the war in Gaza is nearing 1 year in duration, and the Hamas is still able to recruit new fighters, and the Israeli military now acknowledges publicly that wiping out Hamas is not a feasible military objective. Now, the problem for Israel is this, that even in relation to Hezbollah, which is a more powerful militia than Hamas, there is no real military solution. And right now, it's very clear that Israel has the advantages of technology, of intelligence, and these airstrikes that it's carrying out in Lebanon, these devastating strikes, are going to hammer the Hezbollah. But if it wants to significantly degrade Hezbollah, it'll have to send ground troops into Lebanon. And sending ground troops into Lebanon would mean fighting on Hezbollah's turf.
Yeah.
And Hezbollah is a very resilient militia. It has been shown repeatedly over the decades. And taking Hezbollah on Hezbollah's turf in Lebanon will be a different ball game, one that will carry great risks for Israel, and especially for Bibi, the Prime Minister, because after the fact that nearly a year of war in Gaza has not finished Hamas, the last thing that Bibi wants is a bloody conflict in Lebanon that drags on against Hezbollah.
Elad, your thoughts? Because there are also two separate factions. People are making a point that you took on the Sunni factions first, now it's the Shia factions. So the entire Muslim world may just be up at arms right now. And is Israel willing to do this, or is there a calculated escalation here?
I think it's definitely calculated. I think that it's very visible from Israel's actions for the past 11 months that Israel is not looking or taking any steps in order to drag the region into an all-out war. But it's important to bear in mind that Hezbollah started attacking Israel unprovokedly on October 8th, right after the horrible Hamas massacre on October 7th. You can almost take these two fronts and put them separately in that way, although they are connected, obviously. But Hezbollah has started an unprovoked attack against Israel the day after Hamas started its own attack. Israel has no presence in Lebanon since the year 2000. Israel has no claim in Lebanon, does not control any aspect of the Lebanese life. In that aspect, it's a completely different story. Lebanon is an independent state. Hezbollah is a part of that state. One might suggest that Hezbollah took control of that sovereign state. But when we look at the two different fronts, the southern front of Israel in Gaza and the northern front in Lebanon, these are two very separate stories, and it has similarities, but it has a lot of difference as well. I have to say one more thing, that we are currently in the midst of a tipping point in terms of the war that is being engaged in the region, because up until now, the main focal point was Gaza, obviously. As Brahma mentioned, we're almost a year into this conflict in Gaza, where it seems to be taking a different stage at this point. It's not as intensified as it was in the first few months after October 7th. And now it seems like the focal point is Lebanon, Hezbollah, and the northern front of Israel. We're seeing Israel carrying out more and more attacks, more and more actions, whether they're directed assassinations against Hezbollah's leaders or whether a more widespread attack against Hezbollah's military outposts and targets. We're seeing Hezbollah widening its range of missile attack. So we are currently in a very, very complex and delicate situation where we'll need to see where it will develop.
Well, but is Israel biting more than it can chew? Because there seems to be a certain wearing of the patience with Israel, because you first said the fight is only with Hamas. Now you're saying we can't wipe out Hamas, and now you've opened up a front with the Hezbollah.
And again, I think the one who opened up the front is Hezbollah. Hezbollah started this attack against Israel on October 8th. It depends on who you're asking, because the question of whether or not you can wipe out Hamas is regarding the term. What do you call wiping out Hamas? Is wiping out Hamas eliminating each and every Hamas member or each and every person in Gaza who believes or relates to the Hamas agenda and way of life? No, I don't think that anybody would say that that's Israel's goal. Israel's goal since day one has been to wipe out Hamas as the ruling regime, the terror regime ruling Gaza, to dismantle Hamas military capabilities, and first and foremost to make sure that Hamas will not be able to carry out attacks such as the one it did in October 7. And Hamas itself said that its aim is to carry out as much as October 7th as possible. So I think that Israel's main aim in terms of Hamas is making sure this will not happen again, that Gaza will not be a source of a security threat to Israel. And now Israel can focus its sights on Hezbollah because the situation in the northern front is a lot more complicated than the one in Gaza right now.
Right. We've got news on these developments closer home, and that could impact us here in Bharat, because in the 1.4 billion population, we've got nearly 27 to 30 crore Muslims here in our country and across all sects of Islam. Now, what we are getting to understand in a CNN News 18 mega exclusive via Security Affairs Editor Manoj Kumar Gupta is that Bharatiya agencies are now flagging radicalization crisis with major traffic seen online for attack videos and literature. Now, we're given to understand that huge sets of groups and conversations has been a huge spurt on platforms like Telegram. And they say that major concern apart from military operations and security is radicalization, which is mainly online. And this has even sparked fund collection. Now, Professor Brahmachalani, now this is closer home. So there could be an issue where even among the Shia firqas or among the Shias who are largely peaceful here, there's no problem, they're not involved, they're not radicalized. There could be some targeted attacks on Israeli, Jewish, US establishments, because the chatter is largely anti-Israel, anti-America.
That risk is there, definitely, Anand. But given the devastation in Gaza, that has not triggered the kind of reaction that many expected. The war has been continuing in Gaza for nearly a year, and there hasn't been the kind of outrage, the kind of anger turning into violence in the Muslim world against Western interests, because Israel's war in Gaza, or now the current offensive against Hezbollah, enjoys American support. So we haven't seen, for example, even China. China has locked up more than 1 million Muslims in concentration camps in Xinjiang. Even the Organization of Islamic Countries, OIC, has not raised its voice against China. So I think the Islamic world tends to go against softer targets. India is probably a softer target for the OIC or for Ayatollah Khomeini when he mentioned India recently. But I don't think the Islamic world is going to go against the powerful West, just the way it has not gone against powerful China.
Fair point. Let's see how this translates and how long this escalation continues, because we are seeing conflict in two different parts of the world go beyond more than a year. Ukraine conflict into its 2.5 years, close to 2.5 years now, and we have what's happening with Gaza, and now this one heating up, and this escalation here south of Lebanon. Gentlemen, thank you very, very much. Thank you for your thoughts, and we're going to take a very, very short break on that note here on The Right Stand. When we come back, big news coming through. Stay with us.
Supreme Court judgments are in our favor. Nabam Rabia and MP police establishments. We will urge all these contentions.
So, appeal before the division bench is one of the options for you now?
Yeah, that's the only option. We filed a writ petition and GM rest classification.
On that note, allow me to introduce to you our experts joining us this afternoon. We have Surabhi Hodegere, spokesperson of Karnataka BJP, with us, along with advocate from the Supreme Court Sumit Chandar. We also have political commentator Paramveer Singh with us on the broadcast. My first question is to Surabhi. Given the political reactions coming in from the Congress, we've heard it from Deputy Chief Minister Surabhi, who has, in as many words, while backing the Chief Minister, said that we will weigh in on our legal options, but this is pure political vendetta against Chief Minister Siddaramaiah.
First and foremost, I congratulate the people of Karnataka, because today truth has triumphed in a way that it stings a little for the governing party, but so be it. We have been, as the opposition party here in Karnataka, we have been pulling this issue to the forefront, fighting through different, on the street, legally, etc., etc. But the particular case in question is the case of the Chief Minister questioning the governor's order for sanction of prosecution. And today, the fact that this has been dismissed goes to show that, one, our judiciary is committed to upholding constitutional values that clearly the Congress party has been negligent of. This was not a trial of whether Mr. Siddaramaiah is guilty or not. This was a mere sanction to investigate. How can we when there are such strong allegations, and this has been reiterated in the order today, that these allegations are not to anybody else but to the family members of the Chief Minister himself, who, mind you, has been in some position of power in the last 30 years, therefore is liable to have, those allegations could be true. Therefore, this is a matter of whether investigation should happen or not. Why should the Chief Minister be protected from prosecution or investigation when these allegations are incredibly strong? That is what is going to be investigated, and we see this as a victory. But more than anything, I'm sure that the legal advisor to the Chief Minister, as well as the Congress spokesperson, will have much to say on the legalities of it. But let me give you the political perspective. The political perspective is that when somebody has been saying that I've been in politics for 40 years and I'm clean, if that is so, then you should willingly resign and make sure that you are investigated by a competent authority. That is the expectation that people have, because CM Siddaramaiah has been saying that he has no black mark on him in terms of corruption, no sort of allegation against him. Here is an allegation that has come, a strong one, that has been debated in the public eye as well as with the governor since December 2023.
But Surabhi has not been pronounced guilty as yet.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not pronouncing him guilty. I'm not a court of law. But there is an investigation agency for them to...
Big news coming through, and this could stir up the political pot quite a bit. The Allahabad High Court has now admitted a petition. This is related to the election petition number 2 of 2024. The petitioner Gyani against the respondent Sri R.K. Chaudhary regarding the elections in Mohanlal Ganj. And the claim is that using this formula of PDA, Pichda Dalit Alpsankyak, Akhilesh's formula is violative of section 123(3) of the Representation of People Act 1951. The Allahabad High Court has now issued a notice to the respondents seeking their explanation. Vishnu Jain joins us with more. Yes, Vishnu Jain.
Definitely, this is in violation of Section 123(3) of the Representation of People Act 1951. And let me also tell you that 7 judges bench of the Honorable Supreme Court has delivered a judgment in Abhiram Singh's case, where the specific mandate is that no one can ask votes in the name of religion or caste. And this formation, Pichda, Dalit and Alpsankyak, is in complete violation and in repeat of judgment delivered by the Honorable Supreme Court in Abhiram Singh's case. And therefore, this election petition was filed of challenging the election of Mohanlal Ganj constituency, and today the Honorable Lucknow bench of Allahabad High Court has issued notice of the matter.
So what is the contention and what is the demand? Now, because there are caste combinations and caste politics is writ large over the Indian political spectrum. So why is this an issue? Because it's not the first time that leaders are playing, what they say in Hindi, Jatiya Samikaran or caste combinations.
See, Anand, the mandate of the Supreme Court is that we cannot seek votes in the name of caste or religion. And this judgment has been delivered by the Supreme Court in Abhiram Singh's case. This is a clear mandate. So if any political party is playing or is seeking votes in the name of religion or caste, it's a corrupt practice within the purview of Section 123, Subclause 3 of the Representation of People Act 1951, and it will also be void, and apart from that there will be criminal cases launched against current candidates. So therefore, the law is that if there is an appeal which has been made during an election, you can challenge it by way of an election petition, and therefore in this present case it was done so before the Honorable Lucknow bench of the Allahabad High Court.
Well, and you are saying that Akhilesh made it his official plank. It was not just an election speech, it was an official plank and an official position that they are going to work only on these caste combinations, and you have quoted these repeatedly. Now, obviously, there will be a political storm of this. We'll continue to track the story. For the moment, we've run out of time. Vishnu Jain, thank you for speaking with us. Winding up this edition of The Right Stand on that note. Stay with us. Brass Tacks follows.
Conduct a fair investigation. It is not legally mandated, of course, but in the eye of the public, it is the rightful moral thing to do, which is for Siddaramaiah sir to resign and ensure that he faces the investigation fairly. How can somebody who is in his
and the High Court has cleared the way for that. So, the High Court has cleared the way for an investigation. The Chief Minister can be prosecuted. But I want to take your question to Shatabish Sevana, Siddaramaiah's counsel, with us on the broadcast as well. He's, of course, speaking for the Congress party here. Shatabish, tell us a little bit about what would you say to the manner in which the BJP has come out to seek Chief Minister's resignation? They say that the Congress party kept saying that the governor did not go by the advice of the cabinet, but the High Court has now come out to say in as many words that this is an exception, that in this particular case, the governor was free to act in the manner in which he thought was right.
First and foremost, I want to answer to the political conspiracy that is being hatched by the political opposition, because I feel the public, the people of Karnataka very well know the credentials of Sri Siddaramaiah, his honesty, his integrity and whatnot. He has led a life that is impeccable, whether it be personally or politically. Now, the order of the governor was twofold, and that this is where the confusion arose. One, he granted prior approval to investigate, and also he granted sanction to prosecute. He did both the things in one breath. And today the High Court has clarified that this order of the governor will be treated only as a prior approval to investigate the matter and not be regarded as a sanction to prosecute. Number one. Number two, insofar as 17A prior approval is concerned, there must be some recommendation made or decision taken by the concerned public servant against whom these allegations are made. Now, insofar as the land is concerned, it has its own history of 30, 40 years. And if the opposition or the private respondents could point out a single decision taken by the Honorable Chief Minister or any recommendation made by him, then we will bow our heads down and we will, we will accept anything. But you can find absolutely nothing. And insofar as the aid and advice is concerned, yes, the governor is required, constitutionally mandated to act as per the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. However, there are few exceptions. And the High Court today has said this is one such exception. Fine, even if I'm conceding to that for a moment, if he accepts that this is such an exception, he must accord cogent reasons as to why he's differing from the aid and advice. That is not forthcoming in the impugned order. And they say they provide, some file notings, which I directly allege that it is a concocted one, it is an engineered one.
Okay.
And I'm telling you, politically, nobody can demand the resignation of the Honorable Chief Minister. This is only the first step where we were questioning the validity of the governor's order because he had acted in haste. He had issued a show cause notice within 24 hours.
Siddaramaiah, who may just face prosecution now given the Karnataka High Court's verdict. The High Court, remember, has upheld the governor's sanctions, and hence we do see a little bit of trouble now for Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. Now the BJP, of course, amping up pressure and saying that the Chief Minister must not continue as the CM given the Karnataka High Court verdict. But the Congress continues to allege political vendetta, and we will be deep diving into this political war of words that's only likely to escalate in hours to come. But that's the big word coming in from
Good evening, welcome to Rastax. I'm Zaka Jacob. Karnataka Chief Minister Siddaramaiah is in big trouble. The High Court of Karnataka today has ordered that the governor was right in giving the sanction to prosecute the Chief Minister in the Muda scam. Now, what this means is that the Chief Minister can be called in for questioning, an FIR can be registered against him, he can be made an accused in this case. Remember, the allegation is that the Chief Minister's wife, no less, got prime property in the heart of Mysuru in exchange for agricultural land which her brother had got many years ago, and that was transferred to her name in the outskirts of the